back in with our developer stream recap for Marvel's Avengers. Usual format for this one. We'll look at Reddit first for Billy B311's post where he does a quick text recap, and then from there I've cut out all the important parts of the actual stream and I'll play them so you can actually watch them there. And there are timestamps for them as well. Now, I'm still suffering a bit from the unknown virus of unknown origin. I think that's the best way you can describe it on YouTube without getting demonetized. I'm still suffering a bit from that, so the commentary in the next section will be shorter than usual. But let's jump in and let's look at the Reddit breakdown first. So we start off here with multiple heroes is going to be completely enabled. Personally, I would rather it wasn't enabled for a mega level threats, but that's probably a discussion for a much longer video when I'm feeling up for it. And then Black Panther War Table will be happening soon. That makes sense, he is due next month. They're showing off concept art of Wakanda and talking about its foundations. That's what the majority of the upcoming clips will all be about. The images will be available on a blog on Monday. Wakanda has been a big push for some bigger environmental differences in the game. You get like new chests and new medkits and stuff like that. They worked with Marvel writer Evan Narcisse on the War for Wakanda story. They're saying people should tune into next week's stream. They'll have a guest. Fairly certain from what's been said that it will be Christopher Judge. That's the guy that voices Kratos as well. That'll be the voice actor for Black Panther. There's Wakanda exclusive gear. I would hope that would be the case at a bare minimum anyway. And there are loot adjustments coming with War for Wakanda, but they can't talk specifics yet. So that is everything there. As mentioned, I'm not really going to break down into it too much because I'm still not feeling 100% at all. So enjoy this footage from the actual stream here that I've condensed for you. It's all really about the concept art as mentioned, but there's some little interesting parts in it. Thor actually spoils a few things, you can tell when he's speaking. There's a couple of times he starts speaking and then he realises he maybe shouldn't have said it and he just goes ahead with it. Like for example, he gives us quite a lot of information on the Traversal for Black Panther and how that will work. But enjoy that, and if the video's been helpful then take the time to hit the like, share and subscribe button, and I'll see you all again soon.
Real quickly, some things that we're aware of there. We know that the Return of the Red Room, there's a few issues with it. We are aware of all of them. Thank you to Sonic and to Calix for bringing them to my attention. And there's the LAS issue was fixed, right, Phil?
Yes, that actually went live, so everybody should have that fixed now. We actually found 2 different bugs that were going on in there, so we fixed both at the same time. So you guys should be able to get through the hives with no issues. Please let us know if you find anything else, but I think it's in pretty good shape now.
Yeah, and I mean, Black Panther and Wakanda has really been our kind of big push for art and for change within the game, and so it's super exciting to be able to reveal some of the concepts from the team. Some of it is kind of early sketches that was done to kind of set the tone. Some things are kind of production art that went straight into the art team and then made it into the game in that exact shape. So yeah, so this is the Golden City, the Bernanzana, who is the capital of Wakanda. And it is located right in front of the Great Mound, as you can see here, the big kind of mountain in the background, which is the meteor with vibranium that crashed to Earth and then that kind of gave birth to the Wakanda nation. And one of the decisions we made early on was that we wanted that feeling of you being inside this giant crater that the meteor left behind. So as you can see in this picture, there's kind of this crater rim all around. So, and you have all kind of the waterfalls coming down. So it feels very much like the center of the country. And we also thought about it as, since Wakanda is kind of unexplored, it's never been conquered, and in the, even in, as you could say, in the movies and the comics, it was kind of unknown exactly where it was, and it was kind of occluded. So in the very early days, we thought being inside that crater would kind of make them feel more kind of as in a secluded society. And as they kind of progressed their civilization, they started building this city around it. And one thing you can see kind of in the middle ground of the pictures, there's these, we call them vibranium scrubbers that are kind of located around these waterfalls in the foreground. And the idea is that the vibranium is primarily mined from within the mound itself. But in addition to that, there's these kind of ley lines that goes out underground that can be mined for vibranium, and it even seeps into the groundwater, and in some places it will go even into the flora of Wakanda. And Wakandans are using these scrubbers to make sure all the vibranium stays within the border of Wakanda. This was one of the first explorations we did on the jungle of Wakanda, because we wanted this kind of mysterious entry into the country to get this kind of gorillas in the mist kind of look. And with the Avengers kind of coming in and discovering Wakanda and Black Panther, you see him there off in the distance in front of that kind of giant ancient panther statue. And one thing that was important for us was there's the three aspects to it. It's the jungle itself and what it gives us in terms of traversal, in terms of feeling like a kind of a biome on its own. There is the ancient Wakanda, which is, you can see with the panther statue, and there is this, I don't know if you can even see it on this stream, it's kind of a little bit over on the right side. There is this little structure with a ball that is hovering above it. And so these are kind of ancient Wakandan artifacts that are scattered around the jungle. And because Wakanda is so, they're very close to nature, and they're very close to, you say, everything they build over thousands of years. So everything, there's all this stuff scattered around the jungle, but it is kind of little heritage sites that they are taking really nice care of it for the most. And a lot of it is still operational even after centuries. So there is this, you will see it as we play through the game, that there's like modern and ancient technology and artistry is living side by side with the nature as well. So at the very far right of the screen here, you see there's these kind of more contemporary platforms that are in the trees and kind of coming up from the ground. And you'll see there are these kind of tree healers or kind of nature healers that are scattered around. And even, as I mentioned before, these vibranium ley lines that are scattered through the country. There are devices that can drill down into those in a non-destructive way. Yeah, so this is like one of our sketches inspired by the comics. And we've been looking through, I think, everything that has been made for Black Panther and Wakanda, and trying to kind of distill as much of the DNA of the comics that we could. And these kind of extractable elevators and kind of what's called other pieces of technology that could come out of the jungle or just be in the middle of nowhere, that really appealed to us. So you'd see stuff like that when you kind of explore around in the environments, that a lot of things are kind of hidden underground, or they're built together with nature and integrated. So, and this is one of the things that are most kind of one-to-one that we have. But as you play through it, if you are a Black Panther fan, hopefully you will see a lot of nods to the comics in there and specific designs of specific artists. Yeah, so this is, there are some ancient caves and kind of different cave systems within the pack. And this was actually the very first picture we made, trying to come up with a cool style for it. And as you can see, there are some kind of cave paintings in there on the wall on the left side, which are infused with vibraniums, and they kind of subtly kind of glowing in the dark. And there's all these kind of ornamented statues, and kind of you can see a lot of traces of the ancient civilization as you move through these cave spaces. And there's not as much water as in this picture that actually ended up in the game, but there's a lot of kind of pits, like endless pits and stuff that you have to watch out for. There's more there's more dangerous traversal in Wakanda than you will have seen in some of the other biomes, and the caves are something you really have to look out exactly where you're going, because between the new enemies that you will discover there and the environment itself, it can be pretty dangerous in there. Yeah, so this is actually not a concept. This is actually a screenshot from how the missions look like, and as you can see, it was kind of trying to underscore the dangerous traversal here. This is outside one of those caves that I was talking about, and as you can see down below there, but you might be able to see it, there is kind of a pretty large drop down into this kind of river that is going down below. And there will be a bunch of stuff like that within the pack itself. So there's a lot more verticality, where yeah, instead of going up, we actually went a lot down with a lot of these different environments.
All right.
Yeah, so one super exciting thing with Wakanda is that absolutely every piece of art has been replaced. So all the strong boxes, all the what's it called? Resource chests or resource what's it called? Devices that we have of different kinds, health and environment kills. They've all been retextured and recontextualized for the Wakandan setting. And not only that, there's also even, as you can see here, this is part of the ancient set. So there's like ancient strong boxes of different variety, and there's like modern kind of contemporary ones as well. So it will feel there's a lot of new stuff in there, a lot of new interactive objects as well as just new art. So definitely wanted this to feel like a complete world of its own, and not just, you say, just another kind of tile set. So one thing we don't have in this concept group, but you might have seen in the trailer, that even the Quinjet is replaced with what we call a Talon jet, that is a Wakandan jet that you will be transported around in. That is a lot more, say, high-tech and luxurious than the very utilitarian Quinjet. Yeah, so this is part of the contemporary set. So you can see that's more kind of modern looking, and this is one of the resource crates that you can pick up, and they come in all kind of different, say, color themes as you know them from the other biomes. So these will mostly be placed around the contemporary areas that you get to. So like there's these garrisons, for instance, where you will see these things, or modern kind of power plants and the vibranium mines, which is another location that you will go to. You will see these things.
Looking at here.
Yeah, so this is actually part of the, it's called the Traversal kit, where you can use this for wall scramble. That's why you can see it's like, you probably have noticed kind of other wall scramble assets in the different biomes. So this one you will find primarily in the mines. And I think in addition to this, there's actually in-game, there are these grapple hooks on top of it. So for grapplers, they can use that to kind of traverse past that point. But these usually are placed in areas where there's kind of large drops down below, and there's like little puzzles where you have to time your jumps, and before you get on this thing, then you have to, how to say, kind of do the little puzzles that are timed, and then make your way across. And since Black Panther is using the wall scramble, he will be benefiting with this a lot. There we go. Yeah, that's Asuri's temple, which is kind of key location in the story missions, and you will find it within one of the missions. It's like a temple in ancient style, and as you can see here, it's very much built in kind of together with nature. So you have these kind of big trees on the side that has kind of been bent over centuries to then be the supporting structure for the temple underneath. And you also can notice in the kind of in the background on the left, there is this kind of tree platform where everything, the trees and the roots are kind of grown together with the actual structure. So it's very much blended architecture and the vibranium tech and nature together in this kind of ancient style of Wakanda. And yeah, as you might be able to see it here, it's a little hard to tell on the stream, but there's these little kind of structures, kind of small umbrella-like things that are placed around the location, which are as part of all of these kind of heritage sites that you come across in Wakanda. They have all these measurement tools that are measuring how, like, is the area sound, is there pollution coming in, and there's even some areas there's some kind of coverage, like some shield coverage that they can kind of emit across, like you might have seen in the movies, where they're using their shield technology to either kind of protect these heritage sites.
Transition.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. So yeah, you will actually see many of these covers and comics are inspirations that we've either used the visuals from, or we used the poses. So you can see on the one in the middle, the Sound and the Fury cover, the way he's kind of holding on to things and kind of as we move around from kind of wall hangs to scrambles. The cover on the far left is I believe the very first cover for Panther.
Oh, is it?
And if you look at that costume closely, I don't think you can zoom it up here, unfortunately. You will notice that some of the inspiration for our iconic Black Panther suit, like he has these stripes kind of on his armor here, and on his legs as well. This is where that inspiration came from. So we were drawing from the very early Black Panther drawings for his iconic suit. One thing I wanted to say, I saw someone was asking about enemy concepts, and that is something we hadn't really planned, but it sounds like a great idea. So we should, we have some really, really exciting new enemies coming in for Wakanda. You probably know about the villain, because he has been talked about in several trailers by now. But he comes with a whole set of additional enemies that we have not revealed all of yet. So we should probably see, Andy, if there's anything we can do with that.
I would love
something
to.
out before the big reveal of them, which I'm working on right now with the next trailer. But that is super exciting. We know everybody wants new enemies. Us probably more than anyone. What do you say, Phil?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Andy,
Yes.
do you think it would be a good idea for people to check out the stream next week?
Yeah.
Oh.
So we might have some special guests next week, you guys. I can't say who, but we might have some special guests, and I think it would be really cool if you tune in next week, because I'm really excited. I don't know.
Yes, a really,
Maybe
good
you tune
voice.
in and you tell your friends.
Yeah. I mean,
Maybe
you never
it'll be
know.
special.
You never know who's gonna appear. I don't think
Someone already guessed it, I see.
Phil, you're not gonna be here
Chat.
next week, right?
I am not going to be here, unfortunately, next week, which persists the tradition of you meeting with cool people without me.